Hello, Facebook. Wow. Hello, everybody. This is Debbie from Teacher Success Coach and Gigi, our female educator. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I can see us
We are
live on Facebook now.
Okay. I cannot even see us, so I'm just going by guess now. Okay. Gigi, I've asked you, I've got a series of questions in relationship to you teaching online.
Yes.
How are you able to build community with your students? Because as we all know, it is very challenging to actually build community effectively while you're not seeing them, on a physical basis. So what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing or you do experience?
Well, definitely I want to say thank you first for allowing me to be here in this roundtable with you. And yes, for the longest that I've been working, it has been always in a traditional environment in classrooms. So obviously, because of this new situation, the worldwide pandemic, everybody has had to transition to virtual classrooms. And some of them were ready, some others were not, but definitely it was challenging for everybody, even for those who were prepared for it. And I think that one of the challenges that I could see was access. Most of the people didn't have the tools to connect to a virtual class, so they had to get out of their way to be able to find devices in order to connect, or the widthband of their internet on Wi-Fi to be able to connect. Other challenges that I noticed is that not being familiar with technology. Teacher, where do I connect? Where do I click? Is not opening. What do? I don't want to miss the class. So I think that beyond their interest or lack of interest, as some people would say, I would say is more the tools, the resources, the connectivity. So those are the challenges that I've seen the most, because I see that they truly want to. It's just sometimes either they don't have the necessary tools or they are not familiar with navigating and how to do and where to go and using many platforms at one time.
Okay, thank you for that. How do you think, in terms of how easy do you think it is to maintain relationship? Because in the classroom, we are able to have a student community. When we're in the classroom teaching on a group basis, even though we actually, attending to them on a one-to-one basis, we still have that community cohesion. So how do you foster a community where you're actually teaching them on a computer?
You see, that's the part when we are face to face, we get that warmth and we feel them and we can connect right there because it's face to face. Through a screen, we kind of get some challenging because we think, am I getting my message across? Am I actually connecting? Is the message going through? So I think that what has helped me in a way is to be able to be flexible. I think that if we do not elevate it and say this is a classroom, we are going to study a lesson. So everybody please focus and just try to ease up the stress that's already there, because it's for everyone. It's a stress to be in the middle of something new. So I think that to let them know, we're going to be flexible. We're going to make the best out of this. I'm going to be here to support you. If you understand or if you need support or additional support from my end, I will be there. So it's not that we're going to have this session and that's it. And I also try to make it more than a lesson and more relaxing. I would say we're going to have a game day, or we're going to have a, what I call it, a meeting of our book club. Or I try to come up with new names or new stuff that they don't feel is a lesson, a class, but it's just a meeting of people getting together to do something together. So I think in part is trying to ease up that stress that already comes with a virtual class.
Yeah.
So trying to come up with ways in which they feel, okay, I shouldn't stress about it. And it's just a meeting among all of us together.
Thank you. Another thing is some teachers, I notice have actually decorated their space so that it look as a classroom. How do you feel in relationship to, do you decorate your space so that it could reflect the classroom? Or do you think, is there any point in doing that when they know that they're not in the classroom?
Well, I am a firm believer on focusing on the learning styles. So, we have the auditory, the visual, the kinesthetic. So I think we should try our best to get to all of them. And maybe I don't decorate like my backdrop because I don't want distractions, but I make sure that I have a lot of visuals, a lot of audios. When I was telling you about my book club, I try to take pictures of the little things I do. I'm not sure if you can see this.
Yes, I
I
can.
try to have little things of the things that I show them while we're reading.
Yeah.
So I try to not necessarily come up with stuff that may distract them, but I bring stuff to show them and to share with them, like, hey, I did this. What if we all do it? And then we share how we feel about reading and writing post-its and making colors and notes. And then we get together, and for the feedback session, it's more like friends and colleagues together discussing about a book that we read. So it is that part that I tell you, yes, we need to make sure that all learning styles are getting what they need in order to receive the message. So I have a lot of visuals, I have a lot of videos, I have a lot of colors, post-its and stuff, but in everything that I show them. So yes, in a regular class, we decorate our classroom. In a virtual setting, we get a lot more creative in showing them stuff.
Okay. So therefore, you compensate for not decorating it, in terms of using creative things for them to actually do, at the moment. Okay. Do you find, I know that's something I had yesterday with some of my educators who came on. Do you find that do you ever give them tasks to do and let them go away to come back for that session?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Right. Do you ever give them a task to do and let them go away to come back to do it on that same day at that same time?
Oh, yes. What we have is that I try to get the entire cycle in which we go through the lesson. I ask them questions. I ask them to write in the chat what they think about what we're talking about. And then the assignments, I stay with them an additional hour so they can ask me questions. I said, I'm going to be here. You can mute if you want, but I'm going to stay here in case you have any questions about the task, any questions about the assignment, or any clarification that you need from the lesson that will help you complete the assignments. So in that case, yes.
Okay.
Definitely do that.
And do they actually take up the offer or they just disappear?
It's what I mentioned to you before. Depending on their learning styles, some of them say, teacher, you know what, I prefer to work independently because I concentrate better alone. Others would stay until the end and ask questions. Others would just stay there, put the mute and work. I can actually see them working. So it varies. Some of them do, some of them decide to work independently. So yes, but the fact that I'm still there, it's it's enough for them so they can feel that there is a support. Even if they don't have any question, the fact that I'm there makes them feel confident enough that just turning my camera off and say, bye, just complete this task. It's not the same.
That's fantastic though, because it also means that although they're not with you on a physical basis, the fact that they know you're present are there, it's just as good as. That's fantastic. Because at least they know they could actually unmute the camera and have a conversation with you because you're there. So that actually, in terms of, maintaining a community, that is still maintained because you're there. You're not saying, okay, I've just taught you, now go away and do your work. You're saying, well, I'm still here, just like if you're in the classroom, maintaining the community. That's brilliant. Another thing is, in comparison with the traditional classroom, what do you think are the challenges in terms of creating and maintaining the online classroom, the online community?
I think it requires a lot of creativity from us as teachers. I'm not going to deny it. It's also time consuming, but I think that connection begins with the parties that are involved. It's not the same if I play a YouTube video and I just assume that they would understand and just connect with that. But if I just create my own content in which I talk to them, in which I use their names, I use their examples, their experiences, there is a bigger connection there. So I know it's more it's more time consuming for us as teachers to come up with our own content and create our own stuff, but the connection is going to be bigger with the students. Therefore, you're you're going to get out of them more commitment when it comes to attending your sessions, when it comes to assignment completion, because there is a connection directly from you to them, not necessarily us in a distance from here and then me playing another video from someone else teaching something that even is the same topic, but where is that part of me and you? And I think that creating that own content, I record myself for my lessons, for my classes, and I
Wow.
use my students' names and I use their examples. So we are already distanced by these spiritual classes. So what I'm trying to do is to try to reconnect with them and try to get us closer by doing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As you say, indeed, it's a lot of work for the teachers because it means that you have to find more resources. You also have to, as you say, in your case, which is fantastic, record your session, record yourself. That is brilliant. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, but at the same time, for you, your outcome is to maintain a community. And that is, for me as an educator as well, I think that is also very, very important to maintain a community. And the fact that they know, you are not there with them physically, it's a matter of finding whatever you can to ensure that you maintain that community and find that community. That's brilliant. How do you think that the students actually accept it? How do they connect with that? What do they say to you?
I think it's all a matter of routine. When you go to I mean any place for the first time, there's always that little anxiety building up inside of you because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is that from the very beginning, as soon as we begin, I said, guys, today is going to be a very relaxing session, nothing to worry about. And I give them an agenda. I say, we're going to take a couple of minutes to watch a video, a couple of minutes to do this. We're going to take a small break so you can just go drink water, get something to eat. After the break, we will come back and then we'll work on the assignments. And if you need my help, I'm going to be here. So I think that setting up the agenda from the beginning will release all that anxiety and all that stress that already comes with a virtual classroom. Anybody who's going to join a session, a Zoom, when that moment when you click and you don't know what's gonna be on the other side, it's an anxiety. Even for us who are used to it already, you think of, okay, what's going to happen in the session? What are we gonna do? So from the beginning, taking the first 2 to 3 minutes to line out what is going to happen in this call, it's gonna automatically get them the stress away, because they already know, okay, I know what's going to happen in here, so I'm just gonna follow through. And even in my presentations, I try to keep the agenda on, like, on a corner, and measuring where we are standing, so they know, okay, where if at some point any of them get distracted, they can just look, okay, we're in this part now, and they can just follow sequence. So it's just trying the best possible to with that anxiety and get it away.
Thank you. I love the idea of giving them an agenda to start off with. So they actually know from the very start, this is what we're going to be covering. So in effect, if you were in the classroom, it would be your lesson outcome, isn't it? Because it would say, this is my outcome. This is what I'm expecting. This is my aim of my lesson. This is the outcome of my lesson. But instead, you actually, give it to them in terms of a plan, so they know what to expect. That's brilliant. Okay, have you got any tips for any educators, right, who are now teaching online and they want to foster a community? So what tip would you give them, and they realize that they don't have a community in terms of a student community, because the students are going off when they're not supposed to be going off. They're doing their own thing. What tips have you got for them?
I think that saying that you need to be authentic is an, you know, overstatement, because we hear that everywhere. But I think that getting to know your students, your audience, and trying to make the best to just show them that this lesson or this session that you're creating is for them, and that is not something generic that you're doing for anybody, just anybody who could come to your channel and click, but it's just specifically customized for them. It's what's going to build and foster that online community. Because right now we can have access to anything online, almost anything that you want, you can just find it. But the things that are going to call your attention is when you feel that people are talking to you. People can immediately connect with, address you by your name, come up with the things that you are familiar with, and you say, oh wait, this is for me. It's not for any random person online. This is for me. This is my community. This is like my circle of trust. So the idea is that trying to make sure to customize as much as possible. Record yourself. Get your own stuff. If you are already a subject matter expert, so just recording yourself, using your student's name, trying to use their experiences or their examples, things that they bring up in the middle of classes, and use this as an example for feedback, for connection. That is the most awesome way, I could say, I've been able to maintain that online community. Because one thing is that you get them, yes, but maintaining that, it's the challenge. Because anybody can come to you, but then after that, how do you keep them engaged? How do you make sure they feel that what you're giving is valuable enough for them to stay? So I think that making that direct connection from you to them, it's what's going to make them stay. Making sure that we all look at the three type of learning styles, and that we give a little bit to everyone of what they need in order to learn. Not just me as a lecturer standing up there and talking, but just try to every 4 to 7 minutes, just pause and yeah, try to interact. Guys, put on the chat box, what do you think about what I just said? Do you agree with me? You don't. Why? Can you let them have their voice in the middle of the session, more than just the teacher talking? it's more like a peer meeting where there is an interaction.
Thank you for that. I love the idea of recording your session and calling them by name, because that really foster communication with the students, because they feel that they are not just a number, they're a person, as if they were in the classroom setting. I think that's brilliant. I love that. Gigi, thank you so very much for participating in this. I am very grateful. Thank you, Facebook, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It was a pleasure